everyone. Welcome to the October DSS meeting. Appreciate everybody coming out this evening. Don't forget to silence your mobile devices. If you have Commissioner Blevins, if you can leave some invitation, I appreciate it.
Our Heavenly Father, we just thank you again for another day, Lord, and we're just thankful, Lord, that we're gathered here tonight for this group of people, Lord, to make good decisions concerning our county and the welfare of our people during this DSS meeting, Lord. Give us the wisdom we need to make good and just decisions that will be pleasing to your will, for we ask it in your name. Amen.
Amen. Everyone, please make yourself aware that the awareness to conflict of interest reminder. Oh, excuse me. That's a very important piece of our pledge of allegiance. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Harrison.
I'll be back to you. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, sir. Now we'll do, everyone please make yourself aware of the ethics, awareness, and conflict of interest reminder. Going back to that pledge, Lee, now, after it, please do bring that up. There's a part there where some people pause and some people don't, or I couldn't tell if you were a pauser, but it gets to the. Looks like it's like that's such man too, understand. God, under God, is it the under God part that
I think so.
where you keep it rolling? Lloyd used to cuss me out if I didn't say it all in one. Cause he said there's not a comma or anything.
I didn't think there was.
You did very well. Tom.
I really say it the way they taught me in the first grade.
It goes back to everything you did. That
was Dale Blevins.
When I wish was living such you there. It's too early. Sorry, that's just a side note. No, just curious. Can we make ourselves aware of the ethics and conflict of interest? I don't think nobody's got no conflicts. Everybody's very ethical. Looks like to me in this crowd. Any additions or changes to the agenda this evening? Nothing looking. Do I have a move that we adopt the agenda? Move.
Second.
All in favor, vote by the usual sign. Motion carries. If you look on number 8, item number 8, we've got two. We've got regular session minutes and closed session minute from September the 2nd. I'd like to get a motion to approve both sets of minutes there.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor, vote by the usual sign. Motion carries. Now down to the good stuff. Director's update, Miss Wendy Blake. Okay, great.
Well, lucky great.
That's a good cover.
Good evening. Once again, just wanted to share some updates, and I did invite two of my supervisors with me tonight to share some information on Medicaid updates as well as our FNS and energy. So I will keep mine as brief as possible so they can share the good stuff, as Steve was saying. But one of the things that we wanted to share with you is that we did complete our first mock shelter drill. And that was held on the 18th of September, and we actually was like a live shelter. We held that with Andrew Brewer, Brian Brewer, and John Masters, and we rolled out the tarp, we put up cots, he had folks that came in and pretended to be registrants, and so we did registration. We had the animal shelter there, so we've hopefully a little bit, I mean, we've definitely had that lived experience from last year that we're bringing forward this year, but also some more just fine tuning and also updating our internal policy with that. So it was very helpful to kind of go through that and think through some scenarios and things to do. So very grateful for that opportunity. We also participated in the tractor resource fair this month or in September. And we did that on the 12th, and there was over 350 people in attendance that day. So they had a great turnout and we did have a booth there. I'm on that board, but also we did have a booth there for Medicaid and foster care and adoptions and licensing and that sort of thing. So it was it was a beautiful day, so it was great to be out and participating with that. We did have our MDT meeting on the 14th. And we do have our next one. Well, it's actually the 14th again at 11 o'clock, and Pisgah Legal will be doing a presentation for us that day. And our next law enforcement meeting is actually this Thursday at 3 o'clock. So I always like to keep you guys in the loop of when those meetings are in case you want to join us at any point. And I will take a second and kind of go over the numbers for us before the ladies do their presentations. If you'll look, our total number still in foster care is 21. And I'm just kind of going to highlight some of these. We still have 11 foster homes here in the county. Currently, right now, we do not have any in process, but we are starting a new kind of outreach program. Candace Franklin is supervising that now along with Donna Davis. And we are starting an outreach program where we're going to have some like meet and greets and that kind of thing to really kind of get that out again in the community and build off of that. So those will be starting soon, as well as our training that we'll continue to do. But this is more just, hey, have you ever thought about it? Just a kind of a conversation about it within the community. So when we get those events, I'll let you know when those are going to be held. And if you'll flip over as far as our CPS investigations, we received 20 in September. And we still continue to have our 5 in-home cases. So as you know, that's like our case management where we're really trying to address the needs of the family and prevent them to coming into care. So we have 5 currently in process. Our APS reports, we had 8 for September. And we have 15 awards still. So those are some of the numbers that I always like to kind of share with you, kind of my top points of interest. So, do you have any questions that stand out to you?
Yeah, I want to ask one real quick one because I know you've got a lot going with us tonight. Going back to foster care, you said you had 11 certified homes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So refresh my memory because I think I know, but you can have more than one foster child.
Correct.
In a foster home.
Correct.
Because in the years I've seen it,
Yes.
in the public school when they're doing it, I just want to make sure
Yes.
that you had enough foster homes to account for all the kids.
We do, as far as our little ones, our older children, there tends to be that more leveled care, that we've talked about,
Right.
Therapeutic level, but not always. But yes, we do, we've recently had some foster parents that, they've not had a little one come and stay with them, and they've been kind of, frustrated at that. But that's also a good thing in one way, but then, they signed up for this for a reason. But that's just kind of where we are right now with the age range and stuff that we have in care. But yes, they can have more than one foster child there.
I just want to make sure you had enough to, in case something happened that you got an influx or something and needed more. What would happen if you did have more foster children than you were allowed to have in a foster home?
Mm-hmm. So sometimes we reach out to other counties.
Okay.
So like Yancey or Avery has those foster homes. We've done that at times. And then sometimes we always, our first resort is a kinship provider or a family friend, right? That can pass that background check and that sort of thing. So we're always going to go to that route first. And then our foster families are kind of, next. But yeah, so we'll just, like everything else, tackle that when that happens, but hopefully not. But hopefully with our other counties, they've been great to support us as well.
All right, thank you.
Got one question, sort of related to this, not related to this, one of the county commission chairs from another county. Talked to me probably about a month ago, and he's wanting to mention this to the Icahn Council of Government. Because apparently they're having a very hard time with placement of children. You know, also, their numbers are higher. And he'd even mentioned maybe doing a 3-county housing situation. That 3 counties would share the expense
Mhm.
of this. Maybe not as a full-time placement, but as a temporary placement. What is your thought? Before I go,
Yeah, I think that's great. You know, we talked about that a couple of times, you know, here and there, especially when there've been situations where we've had youth in the office, you know, just with the issue of finding placement for them. I think there've been several discussions that have been had about that, but no one's really done it yet. But I would love to see that happen actually, and I feel like the relationships between Boone, Avery, you know, Mitchell and Yancey probably, I mean, we've got a great team that would be willing to do that too, to partner, if that's something that the.
so if that discussion comes up in the October meeting at High Country, you would be in favor of trying to see that being worked out.
Mhm. And then Tammy, of course, would handle the contracts, you know, like we have the contracts that you gotta sign all the time and all the licensing, yeah, definitely.
Okay,
I think there may be a model of that being done already in the
Mhm.
state, if I'm remembering right.
Isaiah
Some-
House.
yes.
Mhm. Isaiah House, yeah.
could you get me the information on that?
Yeah.
Email me that information. 'Cause
Yeah,
I'd
whatever I
like
can find.
to have that,
Yeah.
so the discussion, I think it will come up in the October meeting.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that level of care is needed desperately. And there's actually, there's a group meeting that's gonna be pulling together the state to look at those needs as well. So I think I think this has been, I mean, this has been discussed since I've been here, the gap with that. So I think that, I hope that people are really listening and gonna move forward with something like that. So it's exciting.
Okay. So. Anything else for this? Thank you.
This is Cheryl.
She's ready. Let's see.
Good evening. Just wanted to, provide some updates for our Medicaid program. First of all, I'm gonna provide the most recent audit results of our unit. Back in 2024, we, were involved in the state RETA audit, which was a time period of 9 months, and we had roughly 20 cases reviewed within those 9 months, so a total of 180 cases. That consisted of our application approvals, denials, recertifications, and terminations. For application approvals, we had 99% accuracy rate. For application denials or terminations, we had an accuracy rate of 95%. In technical errors, we had 99% accuracy rate. The state has implemented a new policy change with their state audits that allows for rebuttals to be one taken into consideration, but not only rebuttals, but case corrections. That if they are successfully corrected, that it does not impose future reoccurrence of that error trickling on that case issue. So we received notification on the 2nd of October from my state Medicaid representative. And after our rebuttal and our corrections, our approval and denial actions were adjusted to 100%. And our technical errors were 99%. So we have no paybacks and no corrective action. We've had new staff come on board, we've had staff turnover. So I'm thoroughly pleased with our unit, with the outcome. This is the longest audit that we have been through so far. So we've had 180 cases over a time frame of 9 months. So I'm thoroughly proud of our team.
This is the audit that I was telling you guys about, that we were so close, we were
Yeah.
watching, and we finally got the results.
That's
So
great.
again, we got those results on the second, so we're very pleased, very pleased. There's been a lot of changes, since COVID and more so the pandemic. So I'm thoroughly proud of our team. And, I hope we continue seeing these continued results with future audits. Wendy and I have also been sitting in on state monthly calls, with the passing of the One Big Beautiful Bill and how that's gonna take into consideration with some of the Medicaid funding cuts. It's been hard trying to get concrete information on how this is going to impact us moving forward. Some of the things that we do know is the work requirement around Medicaid. That is going to impact our individuals ages 19 to 64. So that was our expansion population that was implemented in December 2024. That population will have to engage in activity with community service or work for 80 hours per month in order to continue to receive Medicaid. Not only with that change, this will also impose caseworkers having to touch the case and reevaluate not only once a year, but twice a year. So right now we conduct recertifications once a year. With the work requirement, we have to reevaluate these cases every 6 months. And their certification is for a year. So again, ages 19 to 64, they will be required to engage in work, community service, or volunteer services, any other volunteer services, or a work program participation. That has to average to 80 hours monthly in order to continue to receive Medicaid. There are certain exemptions allowed, and they are putting that in policy. So we do know that is coming January of 2027. That will also mean more training, more new policies for our current staff as well as myself. So that's going to utilize a lot of our time. And not only with touching those cases, not only from once a year to twice a year, that increases our workload. And right now, our caseworkers are averaging close to 500 cases. And that's within 5 caseworkers, and that's a lot for our county. And right now, we have over 4,000 people receiving Medicaid. It's dropped a little bit with people relocating due to the hurricane or their benefits have turned, but we're averaging right at 500 cases per 5 caseworkers. So that's a lot. So we have a lot of changes. We're trying to stay on top of the changes, Wendy and I, as we're sitting on these monthly state calls, trying to prepare ourselves, trying to get a plan in place, trying to make adjustments where we need to. We're looking at caseload sizes, trying to adjust numbers to make sure they're consistent among the caseworkers that we have.
Are you full right now?
We are fully staffed right now. We did lose people, but right now, due to the hiring freeze, we're still at capacity until that's lifted.
I sit on the value board there, and I know they've been trying to work through all the different changes and what that means for them. And
Yes.
so I know it's a lot, and I appreciate y'all sticking in there, and
Yes.
because I know it's changing and
It is, and then, once the hiring freeze is lifted to where we can repost that position, at times get, harder for us, and that might be something that we will come and, bring before the board to see if it's something that could be approved by the county.
do they give you any kind of number like other counties? What's the average caseload in other county?
We are equivalent to Avery and Yatesy. I've not seen their numbers, but as far as caseload size, I do know we're equal to their caseload sizes.
Gotcha.
Any other questions?
What do you, with this 1964 age group with the work volunteer? You think that's gonna change dramatically the number of people that are eligible.
This policy is also aligning with food nutrition services, and they have had the work requirement imposed for quite some time under their policies. However, this is the first time that Medicaid has had a work requirement imposed. I mean, right now, we have some that have been on Medicaid for years that may have little to no income. They're gonna have to either engage in work, community service in order to continue receiving coverage, or they're at risk of losing their coverage. So it is, I do foresee having a lot to terminate as well.
Is, a disability or handicap figure into that where
Yes.
they're excluded?
Disability, pregnancy is an exclusion. If they have minor children that they're a parent caretaker. But, there are certain other exclusions that are being put in place as we speak in the policies. So just trying to gather that information, and as we see those new policies released in the training, we'll have a better idea of how this is actually going to flow for us.
Is it on you guys to educate the folks that are in that group, or are they getting stuff sent to them?
The state has not yet released any information to these Medicaid recipients. We have erred on the side of caution until we know for sure that this work requirement is going to be put in place. So as January 2027 approaches, then yes, we can put protocol in place to where we can try to get that information out, whether it be on Facebook, whether it be on our county website. So yes, we can put those procedures in place to try to notify our recipients, and I'm sure the state will also be generating notices from Raleigh.
So you're talking about, we said average caseload is 500 times 5, so 2,500 folks that would be.
Well, not all of them are for
Would be,
this population.
Yeah, okay, I got
That is also contained in our elder population. That's including our individuals in long-term care facilities, assisted living facilities. That's including adult and family and children's.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So for adult Medicaid, we currently have 4 caseworkers, and one of them does long-term care and CAP. So they are also within the 400, close to 500 range as well. And long-term care seems to be growing. We're seeing the need for more of the family members receiving, or family members, loved ones going into a facility or going on CAP services. So that program has increased dramatically as far as the caseload size.
How many years have you got in now, Michelle?
I have 18 years.
18, an old grizzled vet. So it's, that's good. But you've never seen anything like this?
Not this drastic.
I've never got you, but, that experience goes a long way. You know what you're dealing with, so.
This is since COVID, we've had the most policy changes since COVID. And it's just been new policy after new policy. And it's hard trying to stay up on the
Yes,
changes. You know, train with your staff, trying to keep those new policies clear and not trying to revert to old policy where we've been in that path for so many years. So that's a transition. That's a big transition. So, and then with the work requirement and other ongoing changes that we're likely to see, we've got a lot ahead of us. Any other questions?
Thank you, appreciate you. Next, we got Miss Yard.
Good evening. I will follow up with Michelle and let you know, we've been doing ABOD in food nutrition for probably 9 years. It has been waived at certain times, COVID, they waived it. It works. it's a good program. You'll tend to see a little bit of fall off at the beginning, but once folks are aware of the program rules and things like that, they know it's required and it tends to drive folks to work that can work. Those that are not able to work but not, maybe don't quite meet that disability definition by Medicaid or Social Security. They can be accepted by a doctor as well, so. It's not as scary as it sounds.
Well, that's good.
So, it's worked for food nutrition for a long time. I also want to talk about some changes being brought about by the big beautiful bill. For food nutrition, we just don't have really any changes yet, except to a very small, not very well known program called Simplified Nutrition Assistance Program, which we've always referred to it as SNAP, but then all of USDA started using SNAP for just Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which is your regular food and nutrition assistance for families. This program is specifically geared towards SSI recipients and our elderly. So the first change that we've seen has been to this program. So this program works like this. If the client is 65 and older, they are unmarried, alone, or with another family, is a separate household, maybe they're living with a child, things like that. And they're receiving the SSI. We can look at them and assess, we've been able to look at them and assess them for the Simplified Nutrition Assistance Program. The great thing about it is the term on that, the certification period is 3 years. So they don't have to worry about it for 3 years. They do it and they're good for 3 years. It only looks at the fact that they have SSI, and it only looks at their household size, which is being one, and their shelter expenses. So, and that varies. In the elderly, you might have a majority of folks that don't really have a rent or mortgage expense, and you've got some out there that have a rent expense. So in the past, if their shelter expense was less than $150, they got $166 a month, which is pretty good because a lot of our seniors are on that regular food nutrition and they get $23. If their rent was above, or shelter expense was above $150, they got $206. So the big beautiful bill had some effects on this program. So now if they don't have a rent expense, their benefit dropped to $104. So they lost $62 a month, and that's a lot. It did add an additional group that says if your rent is between a penny and $199.99 a month, they would give you $145 a month. And then if your rent is $170, is that right? No, $200 or greater. Sorry, I read that backwards. So if the rent is $200 or greater, they are going to get $170 now. They were getting $206. It's a $36 difference. So we've had a lot of calls from our senior members that are impacted by this cut. What we have been doing is just turning around in a second for a regular food nutrition program, because if I can look at more expenses other than just shelter. So if I add utilities in there, they got some medical expenses, property taxes, they may not have rent or mortgage, but the property taxes, homeowners insurance. I had one lady that had went from the 166 to the 104. She called quite upset. I redid her case under a regular food and nutrition. Now, it's not gonna be good for 36 months, but it's good for a year. And they got her back up to 162. So $4 short. So if you do get calls and complaints, especially from her senior members of the community, please make sure you tell them to call us. We can maybe do something to help. So that was our first real impact from the big beautiful bill. There's more things to come, these state calls, we've heard things, but I just don't wanna talk to them, and I've learned until it's in writing, it's usually not any good to talk about. So that's the first thing we've seen. Energy assistance, I just want to talk about it briefly, just because it's that time of the year. We've received a little under $60,000, right at $60,000 since July 1st to use for cooling and heating assistance. And we have used about half of that. We've got about $32,000 left. We're running our crisis intervention program. So remember, they're out of cooling or risk of losing cooling or heating. Then they can call us and we can assess them for that program for some heat or cooling. Right now, I have one group that uses cooling and then another group that needs heat. So we're kind of doing both right now. So depends on their age, really. And then, of course, the low income energy assistance program. Initially, we had heard that it was gonna be cut completely. That has been salvaged, but we have not heard anything from the state on the low income program that starts in January or in December for our elderly.
Normally you're hearing, before now, right? You've got
Yeah.
information and.
Well, we're getting a lot of calls about that because we, in years past, we've done pre-approvals. The states just went, if you got it the year before, they went ahead and pre-approved you for this year, and letters have went out, but nothing's happened yet. We're still on hold, waiting to hear what's gonna be with our low income energy assistance funds. So we'll update you once we get information on that. Any questions? Okay. Thank you guys.
Let's do
Last but not least. So as a segue into what Jennifer just spoke about, so on the horizon, as we look at this big beautiful bill and being reimbursed as a county, the only thing that I see from my end of things is the talk of in 2027, the county could bear more cost for administration of the food nutrition program. When I say could, is oftentimes if the federal government pulls out and doesn't reimburse, there's usually, sometimes there's a gap fund, and we've seen that come at the last minute and the state cover those expenses. Should in 2027, they cut our FNS program by 25%, leaving us only 25% reimbursement for our staff. At current salary rates, that would cost us around $75,000 in reimbursement a fiscal year. Just to give you an idea of what could be on the horizon, but as I said in last meeting, and as Jennifer and Michelle reiterated, we don't often know till the last minute, and hopefully some gap funds will come across. Because the state and federal government hopefully are aware that they're gonna burden counties more. But just so that you know, and we're being transparent of what we're hearing. So as far as our reimbursements go for these programs, that's all I've heard so far. Now I am headed and aiming towards a Western Regional Fiscal Officer meeting that's coming the first week in November. And I think that it'll be a great meeting of the minds, and we'll be able to hash this out and talk more about, and those state people that host that meeting maybe have some more answers for me that I could present to you at a later time. So I just wanted to use Jennifer's presentation as a segue to give you that information. Looking at this year's budget, we're just trickling in. We're 3 months in on our expenses, and we should be around 25% of budget. We're riding at 22%. So nice little trend starting there, a little bit on. We have 1 month of revenue on the books right now, and we're at 10% of that. As you know, we are wrestling with the state budget in North Carolina. So until that passes, we're gonna see some fluctuations in our revenues, and there's nothing really solid to stand on right now. And so that's where we are now. Also, I wanted, it's been a couple months, since I've given you the disaster funds update, so we haven't heard anything about those funds, so we are still distributing those and helping our citizens of Mitchell County who have incurred, disaster cost. And so in our APS, disaster funds, we have given out just over 27,000, and we have a little over 7,000 left to give, unless the state intervenes and wants to recoup any of those funds. In our child welfare section, we've given out just over 51,000 and still have 11,000 to give and help people who have incurred costs because of the disaster and need help. Excuse me. We also have given help with rent. Our disaster rent program, we've exhausted that at 39,000. So there's some criteria around that. If you know anybody that needs help, that they just have to come up and talk to us about whether they're eligible for that funding. But that makes me feel good as a community member that we've been able to help our people to that extent. So, do you have any questions around that? Okay, if you think of any, let me know. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the list, board comments, start with Ms. Masters.
No, I just want to say, thank you, Michelle, thank you, Jennifer, for presenting that information. I hate to hear that so many people are being affected by the beautiful bill. Because that is our people here in town, so, but thank you for everything that you guys do and you're going above and beyond.
No comment other than thank y'all for being here tonight and presenting and what y'all do. I don't get many complaints. Thank y'all very much.
Mr. Hart.
Same here, you guys doing a great job. I hated to hear the news or some of the news you gave us tonight. You know, we hope things work out better. And we get a state budget passed and the federal shutdown will end soon. Because, you know, it's affecting people in their lives, so hang in there, guys.
Mr. Flip.
Yeah, I'll say the same thing. Thank you, for the valuable information tonight. All the presentations were just, I mean, you know, under the circumstances, as we said, but it's good information that we needed to know about. And I'll just tell you this, your employees, it's very evident that all of you are very motivated with your jobs. Your hearts are in it, and I'm sure the whole board thanks you for that, because it's, y'all do a super job.
I 100% agree. Thank y'all. I know it takes time away from your family to come down here and talk to us, so appreciate all of you doing it. But I know these guys get to do it every month, so thank y'all for coming in separately. And if you need anything, you know, please bring it to Wendy, and she can bring it to us or bring it to us, you know, directly, however, whatever's easiest for you. We're all here to help. Because in the end, it's the citizens that matter, you know, we're here to help them, so. I just want to say one other thing. This is just a plug on my end for my preacher has bit off a big task. So if anybody out there would like to help, they are hosting, I don't know, the Tim Tebow Foundation does a lot of different stuff, but one of the things that they do is a night to shine, and it's basically it's a prom for special needs kids that can come from all over. They anticipate like over 100 kids, and it's a pretty big undertaking. I go to Snow Hill Baptist, a little small church, so it's a big undertaking for our church. So, you know, if you guys can spread the word, they're looking for volunteers for anything from fixing hair to security to a lot of stuff that's actually going to be hosted at, I believe, the new middle school there. So, a lot of work to be done between now. I think it's in February. I don't have the exact date on my head, but Should be a pretty good program. Yeah, we'll plug for that. I don't have anything else, I have a motion that we adjourn.
So moved.
Second.